They say I'm nerdcore, like I give a fuck about a name when it's just another word for the same thing that called me for years, for a group who refuse to be pressured by the peers. We live our life by our own accord and hope one day maybe we can hone the force. And yeah, we're lonely dorks, but your piece is a ghost. Maybe someday you gon' feel me when it's season of dose. I took the red pill, now I'm seeing shit crystal. Speaking from the heart, all your cats remain distal. I'm the alpha, omega, and kappa. You find that we reside in 4D if you give us the time, because we're next gen with this, my symphony. I thought I told y'all we was unlimited. I wonder when you cats going to learn that we were geek chic long before you coined the term. Yo, I'm back, bitches, turn the beat up.
Hello everyone, welcome to Jerry Hates Action. My name is Jerry, and joining me as always is the ever-quotable Jay.
Whoa.
That's what you chose?
Yeah.
Half his lines of dialogue in this movie are questions, and you went with whoa.
Yeah. Because it's also a Keanu Reeves thing.
And the Silent Hill biker himself, Kenneth.
Just gonna remain silent.
Okay, welcome back to Jerry Hates Action. We are doing The Matrix from 1999, directed by Lana Wachowski and Lily Wachowski. So that's dope. How do you say their last name? Is it Wachowski?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right.
If you guys want to call into the show and let us know for saying your last name wrong, that's fine.
Yeah, Lana, Lily, come hang out with us. Talk to us about your last name.
Give promotion for your little-known movie, The Matrix. You know, not a lot of people have seen it. Like to give you some exposure to unknown artists out there.
Now, okay, I'm fitting to ask a question, and this is not a joke. This is actually a serious question. Okay, previously known as the Wachowski brothers, do they prefer to be called the Wachowski sisters now? Or
no, they now just prefer to be called the Wachowskis.
Okay, cool. All right. So that was a serious question. I was just curious. But I heard that they're going to be making a fourth one.
Yeah, only Lily is coming back as far as the two of them are concerned. But supposedly Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss and everybody else is on board.
I'm curious to see where they're going to pick the story up from.
Well, there's, what was there, 10 years in between 1 and 2? 5 years, something like that?
Hey, man, you are the mountain of knowledge on this.
Right now.
I have no fucking idea.
Whatever. There's time between 1 and 2 that could easily fill it up.
That's true. I thought the Animatrix did that.
A little bit of it, but there was several years of events that can be...
The second Matrix movie, Reloaded, takes place 6 months after the events of The Matrix.
6 months. Why did I think it was years? Damn.
I don't...
I've failed. Okay, either way, there's 6 months of story there.
Sure. So, what is The Matrix about? A computer hacker learns from mysterious rebels about the true nature of his reality and his role in the war against its controllers. It's Terminator, basically.
It's not Terminator.
Oh, okay. So, I'm going to preface this with, if you think Quentin Tarantino steals a lot of shit, this movie is nothing but stolen shit. There is, like, they legit stole, like, plotline. They did it genius, though, because in 1999, no one really, in the mainstream audience, no one would know about, like, The Invisibles, or because they didn't read comics, or they might not know about Ghost in the Shell because they don't watch anime or read manga. Or maybe they don't watch the Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies, so they wouldn't notice that. So
that's not stealing, though.
Okay, you can be like Tarantino and call it a homage.
No,
but when you straight up fucking film a scene that is shot for shot from Ghost in the Shell, fuck you. You just stole the scene. At least be like the dude who directed.
Shaw Brothers. Like the Shaw Brothers don't own kung fu movies.
No. It's the Wire. I'm not talking about just the kung fu. I'm talking about like they literally like created Wireworks, and like that is who like the Wachowskis have said like this movie is all fucking like about like influences. They literally just took from all over these places and crammed it into this movie. Like they like literally the producer Steele, he has came out and said when they came to pitch the movie to me, they handed me a copy of Ghost in the Shell and said, "Watch this. We want to make a live action of this." That is a backed up, certified.
I'm only
thing.
talking specifically about
and
kung fu and wire work. The Shaw Brothers don't like. They may have started it and popularized it, but plenty of other people. It's not. You're not stealing a type of.
I'm not.
A fight.
But they literally use scenes from Shaw Brother movies.
Well, then you'll have to. That stuff I am unaware of. So,
like I never said they stole kung fu. I was naming stuff they specifically stole from Ghost in the Shell, Shaw Brothers.
Whose kung fu is better? Is it the Wachowskis kung fu or the Shaw Brothers?
Shaw Brothers, fucking
probably
hands
directed
down
by the same fucking person.
Shaw Brothers,
fucking Yuan Wu Ping's all over the place.
Definitely Shaw Brothers. Shaw Brothers is that legit shit, that Wu-Tang shit. And, you know, Wu-Tang is for the children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really matters. But no, I was just talking about like, okay, so before Jay got super defensive, I was actually saying the genius of how they paid homages. I'm sorry, I'm calling that bullshit. They stole. They straight up stole a bunch of shit that the mainstream audience would not fucking know. And they crafted it all into the same. Like, even the bullet time stuff, like, people pointed to different instances where, like, it had been done kind of before, but not to the perfection they did it as. Like, even that...
Yeah, John Woo used a similar technique.
Yeah, like, so, like, everything in... Like, nothing in this movie is really original. It comes off under the visage of original, but nothing in the movie is... Facade. No, visage. I'm talking about the vision, because I'm linking that into something. It comes into a vision of being original, but in all reality, it's not original at all. And that's also a little bit genius also, because when you go into what the movie is, what the Matrix is, they literally, like, made a movie that you think is original, and then once you see for the first time, once you start digging and find out new information and come out of that Matrix, you find out that none of it was really theirs, and it's from all these other places, but they created this world of stuff you didn't know, and you were plugged into their movie, not knowing that none of it was really theirs. Do y'all get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yes. I'm totally with you, man.
Like that in itself is genius, and like I did find it funny in my research. So they made Lawrence Fishburne, Moss, and Keanu Reeves all read like 3 different books, and they had to fully explain what the Matrix is and what the philosophy of the movie is. And it's kind of funny because the main book, and it's actually the book that you see Keanu Reeves open up to take his disc out to sell to that guy for $2,000. It's that book.
Simalucha and Simulacra. I don't remember.
It's got 2 different names depending if you're in France or America. They can go look it up. But that guy has came out and said that even though this movie is based on his philosophy, he just straight out said they got it completely fucking wrong. They do not understand my book, and they literally made a movie, and this ties into what I was talking about earlier. They made a movie that if the Matrix made a movie to explain the Matrix, it would make this movie. So the whole philosophy that this movie's based on, the author of that philosophy was like, no, they don't understand it. They got it completely fucking wrong. Which I think is kind of fucking hilarious.
That is kind of funny.
And the reason I'm going into all this, because I'm trying to get, like, before we start going into, like, specific scenes, I'm trying to hit this, like, overview of the movie and how I feel about it. So then I can turn it to y'all, and y'all can go, like, y'all have more in-depth, like, memories of this. I literally don't even remember the first time I watched it. I just remember it didn't stick. It didn't stick in me. So like that kind of shit was really fun to me. I do want to say, very impressively made, pre-production wise. They had to do 6 months of training, which actually the guy who Jay mentioned earlier, who was the main fight choreographer, he did not want to do this movie. He asked for a crazy amount of money and also asked for 6 months of training time just so that he wouldn't have to do this movie because he thought they would not say yes to it.
Then they said yes.
And they were like, nah, homie, you're the best. We have to have you. And Keanu Reeves actually was injured and could not do most of the training, which is why you don't see him do a lot of kicks in the movie because he only really had time to do training for the punches.
Yeah, he had a spine surgery or something, or a broken neck or something super serious.
I'd have to look it up, but it wasn't that serious yet, but it was starting to paralyze one of his legs, and it is linked to the spine. So
wasn't that serious? It's starting to paralyze one of his legs, but it's not that serious.
Yeah, not for him.
What the fuck, man?
Okay, valid point. Well, I meant not that serious, as in not like a fucking broken neck.
Just a broken spine.
No, it was like a melded or collapsed disc or something. But the Wachowskis also like they wrote a movie called Assassins, which did get made in like 94, 96, something like that.
They write that the Stallone movie?
Yeah, they wrote that, but then it got crazily rewritten. So most of their shit's not really in it.
Oh.
But they actually,
like that movie.
So they made a deal, a deal to get 3 of their scripts bought. That one, their second one, which is like a bound lesbian movie with Jennifer Tilly, which apparently is really fucking good. And it's probably more impressive now if you go back and look at it, considering that they are trans, openly now. And then The Matrix, and they had to fight heavily to direct The Matrix, and the producer was basically like, look, cut your teeth on Bound, and if you do a good job there, we'll let you do The Matrix. And they did. They fucking murdered it. They killed it. But when they also had to hire like 2 comic book artists just to break down and do the entire movie in highly detailed comic book storyboards.
Yeah, the
get
storyboards for that movie are fucking ridiculous.
The money for it. And they could do that because did you know that they worked in comics?
Yes.
They worked on Clive Barker comics.
Yep.
Nice.
So that was pretty fucking dope. And unfortunately, one of the comics they did was called Ecto Kid, I think it was, which has been called a ripoff of The Invisibles, in which the guy who did The Invisibles, is it Grant Morrison, I think?
Yeah, I'm 99% sure.
He straight up said The Matrix is 100% a ripoff of The Invisibles, and that he should be being paid royalties. Wow. And in my research, a lot of people actually kind of agreed with him. But a lot of people also said, oh, actually, they ripped off Ecto Kid, which in turn ripped off The Invisibles. So that was kind of funny. But, like, just everything they had to do for pre-production was insane. They had to film in Australia to keep it at a $60 million budget, because if they would have filmed it in the US, it would have been 100 to 120 million to film it.
Damn.
Yeah. So like there was a lot of crazy shit in getting The Matrix. The amount of people who audition for every fucking role is insane. Like Will Smith turned down the role of Neo to do Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it's because they pitched it super shitty. There's a YouTube video of him explaining the pitch meeting. He's like, man, that sounded whack, so I passed on it.
Well,
and then he was like, turned out to be a mistake.
The thing I read is where he said, I didn't feel like I was a mature enough of an actor to take on that role.
Oh, dude.
And I'm just like, you, Will Smith, were in 1999 were not a mature enough actor, but Keanu Reeves was.
Oh yeah, man. Keanu Reeves is like the 4th or 5th choice, something low.
Oh, way
like
lower than that, dude.
To call.
Like he was in the 20th spot. Like, the amount of people between the studio and the Wachowskis and who they were picking, like, the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Phantom Menace, he had to turn down the role because he was doing Phantom Menace.
That's funny.
Tons of people. And then, like, Trinity, Jada Pinkett Smith auditioned for it. Janet Jackson turned down the role.
Janet Jackson would be terrible.
Sandra Bullock turned down the role because at the time someone else was going to play Neo, and she didn't feel like they would do well together. And she said later on, if she had known it was going to be Keanu, she would have taken the role.
That's funny.
Yeah, because they work really good together in Speed.
Yeah.
And The Lake House.
Yeah. And and at one point, Val Kilmer was going to play Morpheus. Samuel L. Jackson was going to play Morpheus.
I would have loved a Samuel L. Jackson Morpheus. I'm tired of these motherfucking robots in this motherfucking apocalypse.
Right? That would have been awesome.
Yeah, so...
No, I've seen Sam Jackson do serious. He could do serious.
But, yeah, okay. Do I have anything else real quick for, like, the fucking... that kind of shit? There was so fucking much.
Did you ever see Black Snake Moan?
Yes, that movie's fantastic.
That was so good, dude. That's the one where Samuel L. Jackson plays a real serious role. It was good.
Yeah, that fucking movie's awesome.
I'll watch it. I keep meaning to watch it, but I'm just like, maybe one day.
You like blues music?
Nah, I don't hate it.
It's got a lot of blues in it, too. Like, real good, like, dark southern blues.
Like I sold my soul to the devil?
Yeah, some shit like that. More of murder.
Oh, that's good. Murder's good.
Speaking of murder, if you pay attention to Keanu Reeves in the room when he's being interrogated by the agents, his passport expires on September 11th, 2001.
Oh, shit. Talk about a coincidence.
Yeah, I thought that was fucking funny. Okay, so I guess now that I've blabbered on a fuck ton, I am actually going to shut the fuck up, and we're going to let y'all two kind of go into this. And talk about your experiences and why you love this movie and all that shit. So Kenneth picked us to do this episode, but it was Jay who originally was like, we need to do The Matrix. Because, Jay, this is your favorite movie of all fucking time.
It is.
So, Jay, explain, first time you saw this, why you love this, like, all this shit. Just start fucking blabbing.
All right. So the very first time I saw this movie, I'm pretty sure I was 15. I'd have to do the math. I'm pretty sure I was 15. A friend of my mom's who I hadn't interacted in forever, I guess, invited me to go see it with him because it was rated R and I couldn't see R-rated movies on my own. I had seen the trailers, of course. Fantastic marketing for this movie, by the way. The trailers don't give anything away. It just does enough to get you interested and want to figure out what the fuck is going on in the movie, and you go see it for that reason and that reason alone, just because there's not a lot going on. You have no idea.
Yeah, they had that big Super Bowl ad that was literally just people in trench coats shooting guns, and then it ends with, what is the Matrix?
Yep. Yeah, the marketing was genius, so I wanted to know. And so I got the opportunity to go see it. And the movie fucking blew my mind. Okay, so this is before I had I'm pretty sure I had the internet around this time, but I wasn't like super heavy into computers. I wasn't really on the internet a lot. I wasn't into anime. I wasn't into kung fu movies. And this movie introduced me to all of that in one go. The special effects were definitely unheard of at the time. And this is so anytime I'm going to say anything like that, I strictly mean in North American cinema. Because obviously it borrows a lot from it. Like wire work, martial arts weren't being done in North American movies.
Yes,
Which movies?
They were.
Well, not in the ones I was seeing. Like most of the action movies were muscly guys with guns punching each other.
No, literally, Mortal Kombat uses wireworks.
Well,
not to the extent.
Not to the extent, but like I'm just saying, like everything in this movie, special effects included. Most of it had been done before, even in America. I will say a lot of it got taken to a whole nother level for certain things, but to say that it was not being done in America is just not true, because wireworks was being done even in America in the 70s when we tried our hands at shitty kung fu movies.
Yeah, because think about it. I agree.
You got to think about. just going from my perspective as like a 15-year-old, I had not seen shitty kung fu American movies from the 70s. I'm just saying.
Wait. In 1999 and 2000, okay. The reason why I'm saying 2000 also is because the two biggest movies that were to come out in America that were given to us as Americans that used extreme wire work like this, the two biggest ones to come out and throw it at us like it did was The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Those were the two movies that came out that had extreme wire work and put it on the map in North America. I'm not denying what you're saying, Jerry. There were movies that had wire work, but not to the point of this. There was no way. I mean, in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, they're basically flying across treetops. And then in this movie, you've got the slow motion and things like that. I mean, hell, The Matrix developed the trope of wire work being used to the way it was. So I'm not denying the fact that wire work had been used. But what I am saying is for it to be at the level that it was at and to be out into the public eye that it was, The Matrix and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is what did it.
I'm just saying that it was used in America before this just because he made the statement that it had not been done in America. And I just wanted to point out, yes, it has. Now, I do agree, not to the extent of popularity, but like I said in the beginning of this episode, this movie took a lot of things that were unheard of for an American audience that had been done and established in other mediums, whether it was manga, kung fu movies, comic books, and put it in a format for a wide American audience. So, like, you can give it all the credit you want for all that stuff, but I'm always going to put an asterisk by it. Because it's standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, but I'm just... Man, I lost my train of thought. I don't even know where I was. I'm just saying...
At 15, you were blown away by this movie because you had never seen any of the kind of stuff. So talk about the stuff that you hadn't seen.
So I had not seen wire work to that extent. Obviously, other movies have used it before, but I'm talking about the smooth, almost floating through air motions, the elongated in the air movements, like when Neo triple kicks Morpheus in the dojo scene, that kind of stuff, or running up the pillar. That I'd never been introduced to. Even to a lesser extent, like obviously tons of action movies use guns, but the John Woo style, the Eastern style, the Hong Kong gunplay, I had never seen before. Almost everything that this movie borrows from, I'm going to use the term borrows from, I had never experienced before. And to have it in such an awesome sci-fi movie package, almost like a superhero movie before superhero movies were a big thing, just blew my fucking mind. So once it made it to HBO, I remember recording it onto a VHS and watching the shit out of it. By the time the second one came out, I was in high school and could go see the movies as much as I wanted to. I saw the second one in theater 5 times. I saw the third one in theater 4 times, I think. And I've watched them endless amounts of times since they've come out on home video. I own them in both Blu-ray and 4K, mainly because the Blu-ray set I have has more special features than the 4K set. But I wanted the upgraded picture quality.
Up with that? My 4K has literally commentary, like 4 commentary tracks, and that's it. No, and I know there's a making of behind the scenes
there is a
of this.
ton of making ofs for all 3 movies,
and nothing. I'm like, you're gonna put the movie on 4K. You did the job of putting all this money into a new 4K transfer. And you didn't put any of the fucking special features on there?
Yep, I was upset about that because I'm
trying to see what special features is on mine because I got that special edition that's like a book. You know what I'm saying? It's like all holographic and shit.
Yeah, that's the one I have, the Ultimate Matrix box set, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see, we got trivia in here. Let's see, what else we got?
But okay. Yes, I need to be able to talk, and then you can say things afterwards. So I am agreeing with you that this movie has stuff from other things and other things that weren't popular. So basically, anytime I say anything like I said about the wire work, I just mean for a wide audience in North America. And there are obviously going to be some things that I'm ignorant about, like whatever scenes you're going to mention from Ghost in the Shell. I've seen Ghost in the Shell. I don't have a working knowledge of it. Like I know you really enjoy the movie, so I wouldn't be able to maybe point these scenes out. If you let me know, obviously. But that's my caveat for while I'm talking about it. But the watching the behind the scenes and stuff like that, the techniques, Keanu Reeves' dedication to learning the martial arts, and of the whole cast, really. Some of the little tidbits, like, for example, the entire lobby scene, the only digital effects are removing the wires and the fire at the end. Everything else is 100% practical. The wall run that Trinity does in the middle of that scene, she nailed that in one take with a fucking broken ankle.
Are the gun flashes
They're
not
squibs.
added in? Because I know a lot of times in movies they add in the nozzle flashes because that's not how they appear when you record. I watched a video that showed how it actually looks when you do shoot a gun in real life like that versus how they look in movies. And like they're like even in John Wick, they're not extremely accurate.
They may have made it a little more beefy.
No, and this is not me picking on it. I was just
he's
curious.
asking a question. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They may have made it a little bit more beefy.
But like I meant more like the pillars, all the stuff with the pillars happening.
Yeah. I like when the scene ends and that pillar like has that slab fall off. That was not planned.
I was about to say unscripted. The camera was rolling. Acting, it happened, and they left it in.
The sets in this movie were the best actors in this movie. Their unscripted dialogue was just fantastic.
But yeah, all of the stuff, the living in a virtual reality world, I had not encountered before, and it was just the most amazing piece of cinema that my little 15-year-old brain had ever.
You probably had never seen Dark City.
No, not at that point. I have seen Dark City.
Asterisk to that,
the roofs at the beginning of the movie are left over from Dark City.
Yes, and asterisk to that, according to the Wachowskis, this movie was written before Dark City came out as a movie. So you cannot claim, because a lot of people claim they stole a lot of this from Dark City, the living it in a fucking fake digital world. But they do claim that they wrote it before then, and there are producers who's like, yes, we saw the script well before Dark City.
Well, if the Hunger Games and Battle Royale can both exist. But yeah. So,
well, there's a difference there. That bitch can say whatever she wants, but there's no way in her research for writing the Hunger Games did she not
come across Battle Royale.
Fucking Battle Royale. Get the fuck out of here.
She's like, no, I'd never even heard of it till someone was like, hey, that's that mega popular book you wrote is kind of like this one.
Yeah, that's not even a goddamn homage. She stole that shit and was like, oh, Americans haven't heard of this. Even though it's like Tarantino's favorite fucking movie.
My opinion on those types of things is I don't mind so much when you take a story and repurpose it and kind of come up with another story. Now you may point out that it's more a copy than it is taking elements later down the line, and that's fine. But in general, not just specifically this movie, but in general, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me because it's almost impossible to have something that's 100% original.
Oh, for sure. But like it comes down to like what the core of it is, and in this movie, it's like what Bruce Campbell said when talking about Duke Nukem. Yeah, that Duke Nukem is basically a giant homage to him. That's cool and all. A Czech is cooler. And it's the same way like when Darren Aronofsky was making Requiem for a Dream. He paid to have the rights for the anime Perfect Blue so that he could use one fucking scene from Perfect Blue in that. Which is also why when he did Black Swan, which is basically a fucking...
live action Perfect Blue, yeah.
I wouldn't call it... It's definitely... You definitely couldn't have put that out without someone being like, you straight up stole that. Like, but he has the rights to it, so he can do that. And like, so my point is like, homages are cool, but like, I have a hard time finding... So would you feel
like, before we even get into the discussion of similarities between Ghost in the Shell and Matrix, would you feel differently if they had done the same thing where they had the rights to Ghost in the Shell and they were just like,
dude, they would have to have the rights to Ghost in the Shell, Terminator, fuck it, like, there's way too, like, they would have to, like, have the rights to a Philip K. Dick speech in 1979, like, they literally, like, you know what, we'll get into that in a second. I want to give Kenneth a chance to explain his coming up with the Matrix and all of that jazz. So Kenneth, go ahead.
Oh, hold on. I just want to
okay,
finish.
Go ahead, Jay.
So after being exposed to this movie, I actually started hunting down kung fu movies that use this wire work. I found a bunch at Blockbuster in the foreign movie section, and so regardless of whatever it borrowed or stole from, it opened my world of cinema to all kinds of stuff. And had I not seen The Matrix beforehand, I would not have been interested in Crouching Tiger. I saw Crouching Tiger in the theater with subtitles simply because of how interested in wire work kung fu I was after watching The Matrix. I would probably... What?
Your statement right there is why I deem this movie more of an action movie over a sci-fi movie, because almost everyone I talk to about The Matrix, they always talk about the special effects and the fight scenes and the gunplay and stuff like that. And they talk, and it makes them go look for things like mostly it's the gunplay and the fighting scenes. So they go look for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon or a John Woo movie or something like that. No one ever fucking talks to me about like, oh, the story was so good I had to look up where they got the science fiction parts of it, the fucking jacking into the neck. I learned they got that from Ghost in the Shell, or a big obvious one is the fucking Skynet from Terminator relationship. Or looking at like almost no one ever talks about the fucking story of this film as much as they go, oh, I loved all the fucking flying kung fu kicks and the flashy guns, which is why I deem this movie way more an action movie than a sci-fi movie. If I was doing a list of top sci-fi movies, I would not put this on the list because I do feel like it is mostly an action movie.
You know what's funny about that is I never think to look up movies with similar storylines after I watch a movie.
But
like
you
at all,
thought
like
to
at
look
all
up
in any situation. Like this isn't a saying your point is invalid, because it is. You're right. Everybody does talk about the action, but in general, like I'll try and look up genres, but I don't ever think, man, the aspect of that movie was cool. I think I'm going to look up other movies with the same aspect. So that's a pretty cool. That's a good observation that I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are like, Jerry's being really mean about The Matrix. And I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to go, look, let's make sure we're giving credit where credit is due here. And I just feel like this movie needs to have a giant asterisk on it for that reason. Okay. Jay, are you good? Can we pass it to
I'm
Kenneth?
good. Sorry, Kenneth, go ahead.
Cool. Sorry, I know it's weird for me. I've never talked about The Matrix this much. So I have all these responses to the thing y'all are saying. I'm going to try to hold back, but it's kind of hard. Y'all make my brain work. Kenneth, Matrix, go ahead.
I saw this movie in the theater also. I really didn't have a whole lot of background on it. I was looking for something to watch, and somebody came to me, and I can't remember who it was, but they were just like, why don't we go see The Matrix? And I was like, okay, let's go see it, because I was 16. And we went and saw it. The one biggest thing that I can remember about the experience itself was there were so many people in the theater that I had to sit right up front. And that was fucking lame. Because I was looking up at the screen, trying to keep up with everything that was going on.
It is the worst movie experience. Like, I did that for Star Wars The Force Awakens. God, it ruins a movie.
Right. But I still really enjoyed it. I still really enjoyed the story behind it. I was very taken back at the fact of, at this point in time in my life, out of all the shit that I had, had thrown at me from, a mental standpoint, living in a virtual world that we didn't know was a new thing for me. Because at that time, when I was 16, you couldn't go everywhere and just find anime. The closest place that we could get it there was a store. It was Tim's. It was the comic book shop. It was Tim's. Jerry, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, back then, it used to be right over beside Little Caesars.
And it was $80 for a VHS tape.
Right.
Jesus.
Okay. It was expensive as shit. And
anime VHS tapes in the 90s were no fucking joke.
Right. And so when we, when I went in there and I fucking got Vampire Hunter D for the first time, and I bought Vampire Hunter D on VHS, that fucker cost me I think it was like $60.
Yeah.
For Vampire Hunter D, the first one. And you know, the biggest that I had been involved with when it came to anime was like at that point in time was like stuff that my buddy Shane had. So he had like Record of Lodoss Wars and fucking you know,
That was
I
a
had
great series.
yes, it was fucking amazing. That one, Vampire Hunter D. What else? What else? He was really into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, so I watched a lot of that.
I did laugh at the Dragon Ball Z reference in the fighting in The Matrix.
The biggest place that you can see that is in the third one.
Oh, did they do the
through the air?
Oh no, I was talking about the when they start throwing the hand punches so fast you see multiple hands.
Yeah.
That's straight up Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
The fighting in the air though in the third one, I was
Yeah.
just
At the
like,
end when it's
yeah, and they hit
definitely
each other
Dragon Ball
so
Z.
yeah, and they hit each other so hard that you could see the energy come off of them and the rain stops and shit. I was like,
Yep.
this is all Dragon Ball right here.
Yep. And then they land at the end and make the big fucking craters. Like yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, dude. That's so Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, so that was the most that I had been introduced to anime itself. So I didn't know Ghost in the Shell, I didn't know Neon Genesis. You know, I had seen Akira, you know, at that point, but I really hadn't seen a whole lot else except for what was on like Toonami and shit. And so, and Ninja Scroll, I had seen Ninja Scroll, but I was no stranger to Asian movies, and Jerry can attest for this. My dad was huge into Asian movies, so I was no stranger to Asian movies. So the wire work and shit really wasn't anything new to me. But as I said earlier when we were talking, it was very new to the majority of American audiences. Like Jerry said, it was very new at the time. Most people didn't know about shit like that. And so,
honestly, the biggest movie I can think of with wire works for a mainstream American audience by then was Mortal Kombat. Like literally that's like, because wireworks have always been used, but it's usually used for like big jumps or like stuff like that. It wasn't used as much for fighting like it was in Mortal Kombat. The reason I bring that was because it was in the fighting. It wasn't there for like Liu Kang doing his bicycle kick and shit.
Yeah, and then
my brain didn't even put those two together, even after diving
because
deep
it doesn't
into wirework kung fu. It doesn't. Yeah.
The Matrix, its entire fucking setup, the way the film is edited, it is edited like an anime. Like you can go watch interviews with big time anime directors from Japan talking about the Matrix, and they will tell you that when they were watching, they were like, "Wait, I do shit like that in anime. How do they do that in real life? I did that in anime. I'm like, there was this one guy who literally, and I can't remember what fucking anime he directed, which kind of pisses me off. I wish I wrote it down. But he was like, when I saw that, and I saw that they filmed and edited it like how I make anime, I was worried because I thought that was the end for us. They can do it live action now.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, you know, I hear what you're saying, Jerry, and I definitely hear what you're saying, Jay, about how much you love the movie and things like that. And this right here is my main perspective on The Matrix. Okay? And this is it in a nutshell, and there's going to be more than one thing that I discuss. But I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed it. I love the way it was shot. The fucking atmosphere of it was beautiful. I love the green, the overall green of everything to match, you know, the coding and whatnot, except for when you're in like the real world and it goes from green to like this gray color, you know, because like the dismal fucking, you know what I'm saying, like being inside the Nebuchadnezzar and shit like that. You know, so I really, really enjoyed the way it was shot, everything. The acting in certain spots was a little bit you know, like Carrie-Anne Moss's acting, especially in that big opening sequence where she's up there and the fucking the cops or whatever come up there and whatever, and she gets on the phone and she's like, God damn it, and all the rest of that. I was just like, your fucking acting was shit.
Can I ask y'all a question on the acting?
What?
Okay. For the most part, I think the acting in this movie is awful. Besides the bald head dude who betrays everybody and Agent Smith, everyone acting in this movie is just bad to me. With Agent Smith, I thought it was interesting. His was interesting because while his voice is very monotone, his face is not. And I was just like, oh man, his voice is wooden, but his face isn't. It's fucking great. But when it came to like Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo, which everyone already knows. I don't think Keanu Reeves is that good of an actor. I've said it many times.
He's not.
I just don't think he is. I think he's one of the most dedicated actors out there, but he's not a good actor. And all three of their acting in this movie, to me, and the other people that were aboard the ship, is just bad. It comes off very wooden. And I got to thinking, I was like, is it supposed to be like this? Like, is it because they live in such a depressed era? Like, why do they not have emotions? Why do they talk in monotone? Why do they barely express anything in their faces?
See, I think everybody's got their own reason for that. Like Morpheus, I think Lawrence Fishburne was trying to do that stoic fucking captain. I know everything kind of thing.
To play a character that was in the comic book Sandman. I don't remember which specific one, but they basically set him down and was like,
it Morpheus?
I don't know.
Lord of Dreams in Sandman too.
Okay.
I legit
don't read Sandman, and I don't know what you're talking about. So this is my perspective on it. Okay, and I'm not being a dick. I'm just saying. This is the way I look at it. The way I see each individual character for that type of thing. Is like I see that in Lawrence Fishburne. Now I'm not saying he does it very well, but I'm saying that's kind of what I see in him. Is that kind of stoic? You know what I'm saying? And then with Carrie-Anne Moss's Trinity character, I agree with you. I just don't think her acting was good throughout the movie at all. I just don't. I think she got better as time progressed, but I really don't. There were things that Lawrence Fishburne did that I really didn't care for, like when they're in that bathroom where he busts through the wall. You know what I'm saying? That whole before he busts through the wall, I thought was fucking retarded. And the every time he got hit, you know what I'm saying, during that whole scene where he's fighting Smith, he's got this whole kind of thing going, and I was just like, that's ridiculous.
That sounds like me when I blow you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that sounds like chicks on porno, man. Yeah, for sure.
But go back and watch it.
No, I agree.
Exactly the way he sounds. And I'm sitting there, and the whole time I'm watching this scene, I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is so stupid. Because it was just too much. It was like, even when Smith reaches up and grabs him around the throat, he's like, like exactly like you just said, like he's taking a big old dick in the mouth.
Yeah.
That's straight down the throat.
Well, and I'll get into my negatives later, but I did want to ask that because there was a part of me that was like, is the acting like this on purpose, or are they just just badly acting in this movie? Does the acting take, second and third place to more important things like the action scenes?
See, I don't know. I didn't think Keanu Reeves' acting was that bad. I actually like most of the movies that he's in. I like his acting in most of the movies that he's in. I'm one of those people that has made a disconnect from him as the surfer guy from Bill and Ted and Point Break.
I don't think of him as the surfer guy from those movies. He either plays surfer guy or he plays monotone dude. Like he's oatmeal. He's like, and no one wants to flavor him up.
But I mean, I like him in most of everything that he's in. I enjoy it. But the acting to me in this movie was not the greatest. But I think the storyline behind it I thought was really good. And then the last point that I'm going to make is, stolen or not, borrowed, however you want to put it, I think the greatest thing that this movie did is it brought attention to all that shit that fucking goddamn, I'm going to use Jerry's term, that it stole from. And I honestly believe that damn anime writers, kung fu movie writers and stuff like that, people that produce these movies, made these movies and so on, made a fucking chunk of change after this movie came out because more people wanted to see shit like that.
Oh, I will say, like, when I was watching this thing about anime directors and shit talking about it, like, they definitely were not hating. They were like, it was awesome. We can't believe they were able to do the stuff we could do. Now, none of them were like specifically directors from like Ghost in the Shell or anything like that. So it was hard for me to like. I don't know how the people behind Ghost in the Shell 1995 movie feel about it, because there's multiple like shot for shot things in Ghost in the Shell that appear in this movie. So, I mean, let's see. Do y'all want to hear my positives or my negatives?
I want to hear an example of a scene-for-scene from
sure.
an
Start,
anime because this is a point where I'm ignorant and I definitely want to be educated.
Yeah, do Ghost in the Shell because I can't remember either.
Okay, so one of my favorite ones that when I was watching this movie, I was like, because there's little ones, like specific, like there's little ones, the rooftop chase with Trinity, how they land and stuff mimics a rooftop chase in Ghost in the Shell, even like to the point where how the agent lands and how hard he hits, his pose, how the ground goes in, that is straight up from the Major in Ghost in the Shell jumping and landing. Like fucking, I watched clips of both of them together, and it is bam right there. Because at first I was like, oh, they did the comic book landing, but after watching that, I was like, oh no, that's Major Katsuragi. Showing, you know, her weight was from the android body. His weight is because he can rewrite the code to adjust things on the fly in the Matrix. But one of the biggest scenes to me, there's a chase scene towards the end where Keanu Reeves is running away from the agent, and it goes through the crowd, and like he runs past watermelons that get shot up and everything, and he's running into people, all that. So that is directly taken from Ghost in the Shell when Bato, he's the one who goes to the shell that's got the white ponytail and the goggles on his eyes. He's running through, bumping into people, and in that scene, watermelons get shot up. Like, it is fucking like bam, bam, bam. Ghost in the Shell made real life and put into this movie. Like, it is fucking on there. The neck jacking in scene, that's straight up Ghost in the Shell. But like, there's also, if you remember the beginning of Ghost in the Shell, she has her body being made and getting lifted out of the white fluids. They took that and they also combined it with the end of Ghost in the Shell when she's in her last fight scene and she gets her head grabbed, and the way it's grabbed by the machine, the way it holds her head and lifts her body up and grabs her neck. That both of those two scenes combined actually make the goose scene where Keanu Reeves is pulled up by the robot by his face coming out of this white glue. Like, even the way his body is like limp hanging backwards is from Ghost in the Shell. Like, it's like watching those scenes back to back. It's well, there's two scenes of Ghost in the Shell to make that one scene, but it's just fucking crazy how spot on they got it. Like, they literally were like, when they went to the producer and said, we want to make Ghost in the Shell, they did it. And you know what? Hollywood, fuck the Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell movie. Just let the Wachowskis make Ghost in the Shell live action. Just do it. They know what they're doing. They literally use scenes from it. They got that fucking down. The gunplay that a lot of you think is from John Woo. There's that scene in The Matrix where he's shooting the gun, and as the bullet hits, the water gets shot up and it goes like right across from where the guy is standing in The Matrix.
Yeah, at the end with the minigun.
That is from Ghost in the Shell. That is when Major Katsuragi is wearing the invisible fucking camouflage and is chasing the guy who has the fucking like altered gun that's like a hand gun, but it like fucking fires like a goddamn Kenneth, what's the guns that shoot bullets really fast? Uzi or some shit, like a minigun. That scene is like exactly like Ghost in the Shell. Now all the other gunplay, most of it, is from that, but like Ghost in the Shell has like Major Katsuragi hiding behind big concrete posts that get shot up and deteriorate while she's hiding behind them.
At the end versus the spider tank, right?
Yes. So like a lot of that, and like a lot of the stuff talked about in Ghost of the Shell, philosophy wise, they like it's very similar. You're just slightly changing it from Ghost in the Shell, where you're arguing what's the difference. When do you no longer become human with robotic and cybernetic enhancements? Your soul, or in that movie, your ghost, As long as you still have that, are you still a human being? And in this movie, it's are you even a human being if you're in the Matrix?
I just watched a side-by-side comparison on YouTube.
Dude, is it not spot on?
Some of them really are. Like the one where the one you were talking about the street run,
Yeah.
and the melons and shit. Yeah, that one was exactly the same. The one where what's her name from Ghost in the Shell falls down and she's naked, and then the thing picks her up out of the fluid and shit by the head, and then in the Matrix it's got Neo by the neck. That one was pretty goddamn close. That one was really close. The opening segment for both of them was exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, even the great green text lines that show up in the Matrix vertically, in the Ghost in the Shell, it's done going across. But like even Ghost in the Shell has like numbers appearing, like how it's like 506 or something appears in the Matrix and like dissolves into something like that straight up from Ghost in the Shell. Which I do want to say, I do love the green text in fucking the Matrix. That was really cool. That is one thing I would say I kind of dig that a little bit better than how it's done in Ghost in the Shell. But yeah, so much of this fucking movie is Ghost in the Shell, and like the story definitely takes stuff from multiple things in science fiction. Like us living in a simulation was not a new thing. For science fiction fans, not a new thing.
Well, see, the crazy thing that I found out later on is that there are people that actually believe it.
Yes. Oh,
you know
100%.
what I'm saying? There's, and I don't mean like a few people. I mean, there's like a big ass group of people that
technically you can't prove if they're wrong.
Right. That's the thing about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and the crazy thing about that is I don't 100% think that people that believe that we live in a simulation are off their rocker like I believe that flat Earth people are.
Yeah, I mean, Philip K. Dick said it in 1979 at a conference. There had been multiple books written about it before The Matrix came out. Obviously, the big philosophy book that was written, I want to say it was either 1981 or 1989. I can't remember, but it's the one that a lot of the philosophy in this movie is taken from. That I said that the guy who wrote it said the Matrix is completely wrong. In fact, he hates the Matrix, and if you call him, the Matrix guy, he gets really pissed off.
Simulacra and simulation.
Yeah, like that whole book is about us living in a simulation, and how that would affect us as humans and what would be humanity then. Like there's so much of that. Like I said earlier, I do not believe there is any actual originality in this movie, but I do think it was genius to take all this stuff that the mainstream didn't really know, because unless you were into that specific thing, you just didn't know. Unless you were really into comic books or really into manga or anime or like heavy science fiction, because this ain't like Star Wars. Like what they took on was a heavy science fiction. Like the closest mainstream thing they stole from was Terminator. And even then, I'm pretty sure I could probably find something like robots raising up and taking over isn't necessarily a new thing. Their difference is just focusing more on the AI, which you also saw you see in other fucking science fiction, but that's deep science fiction. That's deep cuts that you weren't knowing, or the wire fighting. Like their genius was taking all of that in a culture that was just prime and ready because of the digital age booming, because of the internet, because of video games. Because this movie is shot like an anime, like a video game, and like a comic book.
And see, that's the thing about it. I mean, that's the one thing that I was saying earlier that I have to give this movie credit for, is it brought, instead of fucking the audience discovering the medium, it brought the medium to the audience. Oh
yeah, 100%. That's why that's what I really do believe is the genius of this movie. It knew what, I mean, because they brought it to producers. The producers didn't know any of the shit, but the Wachowskis were like, these are what the fucking kids know about. But it wasn't like still a widely known thing. It was just certain different kids. It was really nerdy kids, but it was nerdy to very specific subjects because Not everyone who was deep into comic books was deep into science fiction novels, or deep into kung fu movies, or deep into anime. They had all these different things that they were able to bring together in this melting pot. And it's crazy to me that they had their finger in all these different fucking pots and were able to put it together and make this movie as their second fucking movie.
Right.
Like that is insane to me.
I think they did a great job, but also I do have my own issues with the movie itself.
Well, we're not in negatives yet. We're gonna do positives.
Let's get there.
We're gonna do positives first. Like I said, the positives is like a lot of my positives are how much effort they put into pre-production, how they blended so many things so well, and that's about it. I don't really have that much for positive. I honestly do have more negatives than I have positives. Some of them are going to be specific to me. Some of them y'all might see where I'm coming from, or agree or disagree. Maybe y'all can convince me that I'm looking at something wrong. I don't know. Jay, I'm sure you have tons of positives. Is there a few things you really want to highlight?
So the special effects always kind of blew my mind. The camera work. So for like Neo's bullet dodge scene, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I thought they invented the technique used for it, but maybe I'm wrong.
So there are people who claim that they did something like that before, and I can kind of see it. But that argument to me is there's who created it and who perfected it. You know, there's the Last Broadcast and the Blair Witch Project. You know, you might have got there first by a little bit, but you didn't perfect it in the way that the mainstream held it. And I'll be honest, I need to do more research on the whole bullet time argument, because there is a lot more I did not get to.
Oh, I'm not even talking about bullet time. I'm talking to have the camera rotate around.
That was already
Keanu
a thing.
Reeves.
Yes. That was a thing.
Pedestals.
That was already a thing. The two things that they did different is they added more cameras, and they shot at a very, very different speed than most people shot in.
Yeah, it ended up being 30 frames per second instead of 24.
Like normally it's 24, and they did much higher. But people have argued that their pedestal thing had been done before. Like I said, the whole bullet, because I put the bullet time, not only the special effect, because honestly the special effect of the bullets coming through and the wavy shit, I'm just like, I saw that in Donnie Darko. I've seen that. But in combination with the camera work, I think that they were the first people to really combine the two things.
I thought it was fucking beautiful.
My favorite part about that is that Keanu Reeves actually gets hit. That Neo actually does get hit by the bullet.
Right. I did.
What do you mean?
I thought that whole where
he gets grazed by the bullet.
He doesn't actually dodge it.
Oh, I thought you meant like the actor actually got hit by it. I was like,
no.
I've not heard this story.
No. No. I mean, a lot of people got fucking hurt in this movie. Like, I think Kenneth brought up the Moss hurting her ankle, and then just not telling anyone.
Yeah, she didn't want to. She wanted to finish it up.
Not only that, she thought if something happened to her, she might get recast later on. And she didn't want that to happen, because apparently it happened pretty early on. A lot of people got hurt so bad in this movie that they had to postpone a lot of the action scenes until the very end of filming, because the guy who played Agent Smith, he got hurt. He got hurt early on, and they had to have surgery, and they had to surgery on his hip, and they had to postpone all his shit till the end for the action stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it's crazy that Hugo Weaving was in 2 of the biggest fucking trilogies to come out around that time period.
Yeah, right. Lord of the Rings in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, I was about to say, what trilogy?
Yeah, he was in Lord of the Rings and The Matrix. I mean,
I don't like either one of those trilogies. So, I guess I can't say that about Matrix because I haven't really. I don't know if I've seen
but my point
ones.
is, at the time period, those were 2 of the around that era. Those were 2 of the biggest fucking trilogies to come out. I mean, and for him to be in both of them, and then for him to go on and be in V for Vendetta, which I don't know if you liked it, but I thought V for Vendetta was fucking great.
I love Vendetta.
Written by the Wachowskis.
Yeah, I thought that movie was fucking amazing. I really love that one. And so, which is crazy to me because you never actually see his face in that.
My only problem with V for Vendetta is the Guy Fawkes as a fucking actual person in history.
Piece of shit.
He's not a good fucking person. He's
I keep
not
trying
a
to tell
person
people this.
that you want to use as your big thing of rebellion and freedom. No, he was a fucking religious fucking tyrant. So it's just that bothers me so much. The movie is beautifully done, beautifully shot and everything. I just can't stand the use of Guy Fawkes. It breaks me out of that movie so bad because every time I see it, I'm just like, you fuckers, ugh. I'm sorry.
But I still love the movie, and my favorite thing about the movie is that Hugo Weaving was in it, and you never see his face.
Yep.
True.
I thought that was awesome.
True. Where were we even at? What were we even talking about? Positives. Yeah, Jay, do you have more positives?
The whole movie is a positive for me.
Well, I meant like specific things you wanted to point out.
So I said the special effects, the actor's dedication to learning the martial arts moves was really good. I don't know, man. Without being able to just rant and rave about the movie, I should probably just stop because I liked so much.
Yeah, the wardrobe was very Columbine rave.
Right.
That was cool. They actually originally made everything in leather and had to change all of it to lighter materials because
nobody could kung fu in it.
No, they could kung fu in it. The jackets wouldn't move even with like fans on them. They were too heavy.
Oh, that's funny.
And they wanted the whippy kicks.
Somebody asked me once why they all wear sunglasses, and my theory on that is it was the Wachowskis' way of doing anime eyes in live action without making it ridiculous.
Maybe. I never really gave it thought. I did think it was interesting that Agent Smith is the only agent that takes off his glasses. The other two agents, they never take off their glasses.
Not until Neo takes them off their face in the second one.
I think the movie
that's not in this
sponsored
movie.
by Ray-Ban.
No, actually, Ray-Ban did not make these glasses. It was a company out of the UK, I think, that actually hand make every pair of glasses they sell. It was an artesian like kind of thing. They didn't mass produce glasses, and they won because the glasses they made to take to them, they put a little bit of each character's names into the glasses, like Neo, Morpheus, like they did that, and so they were actually flown. The guy who was like the best one, he was flown down to Australia to make the glasses, custom glasses for the movie during the shoot. But Ray-Ban did not make them.
Okay, something happened, and I'm not disputing you because I completely believe you, and that's fucking cool. But something happened with Ray-Ban at some point in time within the trilogy. And I don't. And it may have been something negative. I can't remember. I want to say that Ray-Ban got pissed off because one of the pairs of glasses was like a style of their pair, and they wanted to sue or something. I can't remember.
I don't know if that happened. I don't think it happened with the first Matrix movie because I feel like I would have found that in my research. But I mean, there's a lot of shit for this movie.
But then again, that could have been another movie. But I want to say that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, all right.
But I thought Morpheus's glasses that didn't have any fucking goddamn legs to hold on to his ears, where they were just kind of sitting on his face. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I wanted that fucking phone, man.
Right.
It's an actual Nokia phone.
Yeah, I know, but they were fucking expensive.
Yeah. All right, Kenneth, do you have any specific positives you want to talk about?
I brought up the atmosphere already. I really like that. I like the way that the city looks. It's hard for me to explain. The city doesn't look like the spots that they choose. It doesn't look like a normal city. if that makes sense. Even though I know it filmed it.
But it's not supposed to.
They actually had a hard time finding American-looking slums in Australia, so they actually had to kind of create a lot of them in Australia.
Right. Okay. So it had a very specific look to it, kind of more of like rundown brick. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. A lot of like the staircases and shit like that look like more of the iron, like fucking fire escape type shit and stuff like that, which I really thought was cool.
It looked very New Yorkish. It had a very similar look to Seven.
To an extent, but it had its own flair to it. I can't describe it, but it was like that. Rain. But it was like that. But it had its. Like I said, I can't describe it, but it had its own flair. I'll give it that. And I really like in Morpheus's scenes where they the old school TV and the old school ratty ass chairs and shit like that were in the place where they took Neo up right when they gave him the pill. All that shit, I really like the look of that, like the building had been sitting there and rotting with that shit in it since the fucking 30s or 40s. I like that look. When Morpheus is explaining the whole thing to Neo, where he's like, "This is the desert of the real," which I thought was a stupid ass fucking line.
It's from a book. One. It's actually from the philosophy book in real life.
Yeah, well, Lawrence Fishburne said it ridiculous, and I hated it. But that whole look where it goes and the chair and the TV is still sitting there, I thought that was really cool. I like the digital effects on that. That was pretty awesome.
I do like when he first takes Neo into their simulations, not the Matrix, but their training simulations. Mm-hmm. And he's walking through the town and he sees the chick in the red dress. Mm-hmm. If you look at that scene, you'll see multiple people that are the same and repeated to show that this is not the Matrix. Okay. Because they programmed it themselves, and they programmed to make it easier multiple of the same people.
Well, I'll go back and look at that because I never really paid it any mind.
A lot of those are actual real twins.
Yes, they did a casting call for twins and triplets.
That's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, I mean, I'll go back and check that out. But that's another thing that's cool about it. So a lot of the attention to detail that was given to like sets and different things, to me, those are the positives, the how far that they go into that kind of thing. Like I love the set for the dojo where Neo and Morpheus fight each other for the first time right after Neo gets all the fucking shit downloaded into his head. I really like the dojo. I thought it looked cool as fuck.
How do you feel about the inside of the spaceship?
Inside of the Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of pretty typical in my opinion.
Okay. Good, because a lot of reviews I read were talking about how original the inside of that was. You could see the wires exposed, and I'm like, you can see the wires exposed in the Millennium Falcon. I don't know what your problem.
I don't know how original it was for sci-fi ships, but I did like it. Like it gave off the atmosphere of a raggedy old put together ship.
Yeah, it's fine. It looks like a shittier version of the Nostramos in the inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, to me, it was typical. Except for there's a scene where fucking Cypher is talking to Trinity, and he's like, they're right outside of Neo's door, and he's leaned up against it.
I remember you bringing me dinner.
Right, exactly. Okay, when you look at that scene and you look at it real close, you can... And you ain't really got to look at it real close. If you just pay attention, you can tell where all that shit that's on the outside of that door is painted on because it was made... And it didn't. I think they did a real shitty job of making it look aged in that spot for a close-up scene. I noticed it right off the bat when I was watching it. Yeah, I didn't really care for that. But the rest of it, I mean, it looked like a typical fucking hover ship that was going through stuff. It looked typical to me. I didn't really, I didn't fucking jack off after I saw it. You know what I'm saying?
I've never jacked off the spaceships. Is that something we're supposed to be doing?
Hey, man, depending on how good it was, if I was to do it for the Nostromo, yeah, because that one was fucking amazing.
I have come multiple times to the Event Horizon.
Hey, there you go.
I mean, I usually jerk off to Sigourney Weaver and her cotton panties and tank top, but that has nothing to do with the spaceship.
I'm sorry. For me personally, the Nostromo is the definitive for me. It looks fucking great. I love.
See, and this is the problem with me discovering film and cinema as a hobby. way later in life, so I didn't see Aliens. Like 15 is probably about when I started to really get into movies and watching them to watch movies, not just to, not just as something to do.
Yeah,
so,
like I had already seen Ghost in the Shell before I saw The Matrix.
and
see, I hadn't.
A more refined palate.
I was deep into anime.
No, but at the same time, I mean, you take me for instance, I had seen many Asian movies at this point.
Most of them not porn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because my dad, Jay, I can't explain it to you to the fullest. Okay, my dad would have preferred to watch Asian cinema over American cinema.
Oh yeah,
my dad watched Asian dramas, dude. I mean, it was intense. Like whenever you get to come down here, I've got my dad's Asian movie collection. Okay, I'll show you. I mean, he would buy them from the same company and have them numbered in a row because this Asian company that made the movies would each movie they put out, they would put a number as they put it out, and he had them in a row.
That's awesome. I really got into them. There was in one of the malls where I grew up, there was a little kiosk that popped up. And they're probably all
bootleg Asian movies?
Maybe. They might have been bootlegs. I'm not sure. But I would
anime.
go there, and they had like the four, they'd give you a deal if you bought multiple of them. And I would just buy any movie that looked interesting to me. And I got super heavy into Asian cinema because of that. But yeah.
Yeah, dude, I bought anime from one of them one time.
Yeah. Okay. I guess let's get into some negatives. Because I think this is where we're gonna see where I really stand. So I'm just gonna straight up say it that I find this movie boring. I was bored the entire movie. I wrote in my notes, they are in a dojo. I'm bored. I'm more interested in the rise of the AI and how we destroyed the sky. I really don't care about these characters and their wooded acting. The gun shootout scene in the lobby is slow and boring. Even the fucking music is monotoned. All these action poses that work in comic books, video games, and anime just come off as cringy and lame. Shaw Brother jumps are better left in Hong Kong because in those movies, they had the cheesiness of it works for me. In this movie, it's not supposed to be cheesy, and it just looks really cheesy. It's the power, and like when Trinity fucking kisses him and he comes back to life. I'm just like, it's the power of love. I mean, everyone considers this movie so original when it literally takes every cliche possible and throws it together with a bunch of nerd shit that the mass audience didn't know and got away with a semblance of originality. It's Ghost in the Shell, Isaac Asimov, blah, blah, you've heard all that. My biggest thing for this movie is it is so fucking heavy with action movie tropes, comic book tropes, anime tropes, and cliches that are all well-established cliches. And a lot of it just comes off extremely cheesy and cringy to me and fucking lame. I don't like the fight scenes. I do not like the shootouts. I think the most interesting stuff of the story. Oh fuck! Hold up, 1 second.
Oh god, he's killed.
Oh, fuck! I just died on live. I just find this entire movie boring and lame and cringy. And the most interesting stuff, how the Matrix came about, how the AI took over, who created the AI, and how we blacked out the goddamn sky. Like, that shit is way more interesting to me, and it just gets thrown aside so they can say dumb philosophical fucking blah, blah, blah shit. Philosophical shit, thank you, Kenneth, about what's reality and what's really real and all this shit that they're trying to sound fucking... they're trying to sound smart and pretentious, but they do not sound smart and pretentious. Half the lines are delivered like a fucking dummy saying it or a dummy is fucking hearing it. Keanu Reeves fucking head tilts like a fucking dog who thinks you just said treats constantly in this movie. It's fucking just... Like, yes, it is made very fucking well, but it is also just extremely boring to me. None of the characters are interesting or even fucking likable for that matter. You just feel like the whole time where you're just like, God damn it, Morpheus, just tell him what the fuck is going on and quit being a fucking cunt. Like, just tell him what's going on. Just explain shit to him. Quit trying to be fucking mysterious. You're being an asshole is what you're fucking being. Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't like this movie to watch. On the technical aspect, tons of great shit. I've already kind of explained the genius of it or what I think about it. But actually, for me watching the movie, the philosophy to me does not work. It does not come out as fucking smart and edgy and fucking anything good. It comes off as fucking dumb because the way the dialogue is written and the way the characters fucking say it just makes it come off fucking dumb. All the good, interesting shit, they're not explaining to you. And to me, all the action scenes in this movie, it's fucking boring. It's the same shit I think of when Zack Snyder grew up jacking off to this. Because goddamn does he love to slow down and zoom the fucking camera so you can see all the fucking abs on the Spartan shit. And he took it directly from this fucking movie. And slowing down these action scenes so we can tilt the camera and see Trinity in a flying mango praying mantis pose. No, you're just fucking boring me. And that fight scene music in the lobby scene at the end of the movie, who chose that shit? It sounds like an 80-year-old dude was going to fucking make rave music in the 50s. Like, this is 1999. We have harder shit. Blade was already out. You had the Crystal Method. What the fuck was that? That scene is boring as shit. The gunplay, like, they have that scene where I think it's Keanu Reeves. He's doing his fucking cartwheel in the air with no hands, and they stop in the middle of that to cut to a scene of him grabbing a gun off the ground, and then they go back to him doing his wire shit. And I'm like, well, that took me out of that and looked fucking really fucking lame.
If you actually take the time to look at that, okay, because I've noticed this, and this was actually going to be one of my gripes. If you take the time to look at that scene, he grabs the rifle from a different spot from the long shot to the close-up shot. And then when it goes back to the long shot after the close-up shot, he's still grabbing the rifle from the wrong spot. So, like, in the close-up shot, he's grabbing the rifle from the grip, from the pistol grip on it. But in the long shot, he's grabbing it from up around the grip on the barrel.
Yeah. And the gun scenes in this, to me, are so boring because it's just shooting a lot of bullets and a bunch of chaos and not like. Also, the fucking agents. You're telling me you can't you can't rewrite the code for them to have perfect aim? I have literally seen retarded chimpanzees have better aim in GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64 than these fucking computer generated programs that can rewrite code on the fucking fly. I understand that they kind of have to make it a movie. But if they would have had better fucking aim, it would have been more impactful with the line, "One day you won't have to dodge the bullets." It would have been more impactful when he didn't have to dodge the bullets, which is why that scene in the bullet time when he gets hit is actually kind of very well done. And at the end of the movie, he doesn't have to, I can just hold my hand up and stop it and I'm Jesus. It's fucking boring, and I just did not like it. I guess I'm going to shut up, and before I let Kenneth tear into this, I do honestly want to know if do you have any complaints about the movie?
I think it's this is hard for me because
or if there's any responses.
So if there's any movie that is hard for me to be unbiased against, it's this one. I mean, obviously I have my reasons why I like it. So as far as things I don't like, I didn't like it felt like a shoehorned romance. So obviously Trinity had been watching Neo forever since they started tracking him and decided they were going to free him. So it makes sense that she was in love with him.
Well, it couldn't have been forever because he was too old to be pulled out, but they did it anyway. So they didn't find him until much later on.
Well, I said, whenever they decided that he was the one and they were going to free him. So it makes sense that she loves him. It doesn't really make sense that, for what they showed us anyway, that he would fall in love with her. Besides the fact that she's like the only woman other than Switch who's kind of androgynous anyway on the ship.
Supposed to be more androgynous. She was supposed to be a male on the ship and then a female.
Yeah. And they kind of do that with her, with the hairstyle and the way that they dress her, which is cool. But so that one I didn't really like. The Power of Love definitely is cheesy. Obviously, I don't feel the same way about the action as you do. This movie is nothing but entertaining every time I watch it, including the story and the little stuff inside of it. And I can watch it a million times and never get bored of it. Let's see. I'm trying to go ahead and I'm trying to think.
Okay, you can think. I'll get. Did you have any other responses to like the things I said that were negative?
Most of the stuff you said is basically just opinion. So it's not like I can't. There's no way I can convince you that the gunplay is fun and entertaining, and that the fight sequences are, not boring. That's not really a fact. It's just more your opinion, and you're definitely,
just
welcome
wrong
to your opinion.
I'm not wrong. I at least brought up specific examples in the scenes of why they didn't work for me,
and that's fine. I just don't agree because everything you said that doesn't work for you works for me on multiple levels.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll give it to Kenneth. Let Kenneth bring up his negatives, and if you think of anything, you can throw them in at the end. All right, Kenneth. Negatives.
Okay, there are things that just don't make sense to me about this. Okay, and
plot holes, never.
Yeah, I mean,
I might be able to retort some of these.
Okay, please do. I'm going to start with the one of why on earth, if this. Okay, so the Matrix basically is nothing but computer codes that are a simulation to fucking goddamn work based on the electrical impulses in your brain to create a reality to keep you a prisoner. Correct?
So your body doesn't die.
Yeah,
right.
They have to keep you alive because you're a battery.
Yeah, so basically you are a prisoner in a fabricated world to keep you subdued so that way you can be used as a battery, right? And it's based on nothing more than electrical impulses in your brain, just damn near just like a computer. They've basically figured out how to hack the human mind like a computer. Okay, yeah. So what is the point of the bug thing that they put in Neo? Why?
I thought that was to track him.
Yeah, it's supposed to be to track him. But why would you need to do that? Why would you need to have this thing that's supposed to be like a physical thing to Neo to put him in there? Especially when you've got the agents that can fucking manipulate code at will. What the fuck is the point?
But the agents cannot just know where you are at all time. They have to trace the calls.
Yeah, but see,
so they don't just know where Keanu Reeves is at all the time.
And then that right there, that's another hole, because at this point, Neo has not been pulled out of the machines part of it. At this point, when they put that tracker in him, he has not been pulled out of the machines part of it and went into the way that the damn Nebuchadnezzar hacks into the Matrix. He was still a part of the whole thing.
Right, but maybe they can't track you.
Well, maybe it's not necessarily. Maybe it's more. It's going to be so fucking hard to find the actual body in the pod because of how many like fields they have and harvesting areas and just how many there literally are.
I disagree with that too, and the reason being that I disagree with that is because I would be willing to bet that because every human being creates their own individualized self inside of this mainframe, then therefore it would constitute that their individualized self would have its own unique fucking goddamn brainwave system that would be utilized inside this system. And so if every single one of them has its own individual brainwave inside the system, that means it would make it even faster for them to be able to find them as long as they were still jacked into the machine's personal mainframe.
Man, this movie sucks. I don't have a good answer for that. Like, I mean...
Oh, yeah, I've thought about this one deep.
You're assuming that the humans have different brainwaves and that they're not just like a subdued brainwave. Like, I don't necessarily know if they have different brainwaves that are different enough for people to actually find them.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is if you went into it,
But then again, if
you would
that's the case,
it would make a collective consciousness if they were all the same.
But then, if that is the case, how did the fucking humans outside of the Matrix find Neo's actual body and get it out?
The red pill they took is a trace program.
And here we go.
Okay.
We can go into that too.
So
we could go into that too. But for them, I can understand it. But what's the point in the pill and all the rest of that shit? I mean,
everything in the real world that has, or everything in the Matrix, sorry, that has a real world application is basically a program. It is a physical manifestation of a program. The red pill is simply a program that they gave to Neo's coding so they could find his body in the real world. As far as the agent thing goes, they wanted Morpheus specifically, and they can't turning into Neo wouldn't do anything but get rid of Neo. They had no idea that Neo was the one.
Oh, you're right, because they
wanted to wait until Neo was with Morpheus before doing so. They may have been able to locate him, but they wanted the exact location so that they could then either go to where they were or do the thing where they basically take Neo out of it and turn him into an agent.
And all they'd have to do is all they would have had to do at that point in time was to have Sentinel sitting at his body waiting.
That wouldn't have done anything because they would have had. Well, I guess Sentinel's sitting there, and then if they know that they've done this before, and they obviously don't know how they're getting him out because they obviously have a huge flaw in their fucking system, letting them get shoved down a garbage chute. Maybe the program makes the robots think that they're dead bodies and to dump them?
Well, so you got to remember that these are machines and they're pretty much logical to a fault. So if they're trace program wakes up Neo, which makes him unuseful. Unuseful is the wrong word. What is the real word I'm trying to say? That's not a word. Useless. That makes his body useless to the machine, so they just dispose of him. They don't care. They have no idea. The programs and the machines running the pods and harvesting have no idea that these are the people that are turning into their main whatnot. And really, the answer to that question specifically is answered in the second one when it is revealed that Neo has to exist. The one has to come to be for the Matrix to continue running smoothly because that's how the machines have designed it.
Right, but I'm still at the point where, okay, let's go back to where if they were doing this just so they could find Morpheus, okay, so why didn't they have? At this point, I don't understand why the agents would even have to go to Neo's consciousness inside the Matrix. If they could just find his body and go hang out around his body in there, and if all the machines and everything are linked together, like it shows when the Sentinels and everything in the second one and the third one, at some point in time, damn.
Is the bug they put in him, is that a physical representation of them altering code? Because like they show it with his mouth getting glued shut, that's them altering code. They talk about in the movie where when things change, you'll see the alter code, kind of like how you see the two CGI black cats. They changed something. So that is just a physical representation in the Matrix for code being altered, of them putting a tracker on Neo because they now know that Morpheus is looking for Neo.
Correct.
That's all it is just a physical representation in the Matrix of them putting a tracing code on Neo's brainwaves or whatever to trace him in the Matrix so that they can find Morpheus.
I understand the point of the bug.
Okay, what's your question again?
I just don't understand the point. I just don't understand the point behind the physical manifestation. I just don't. I don't understand it, and I don't understand this fucking contraption that they have to have in the Matrix to suck it back out of him and all this other kind of shit. I just don't understand that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and then even
it doesn't exactly make sense. Please don't go into the second movie. I don't know.
I'm not talking about the second movie. I'm into the second part of the bug. When they're in the car and they fucking use this fucking contraption to suck it back out.
You know what? You're right that I know. I'm not even going to call it a plot hole. That is there for the audience. For the audience to see the physical representation of stuff. Because yes, they didn't need to do any of that shit. then we just wouldn't have a movie. It's one of those things that has to.
But these are my
be
personal
shown.
gripes. These are my
yeah, but if I can cut up something enough that I can go, that's in the movie to physically show us, the audience, how things are operated in the Matrix, especially because that specific bug thing is a good thing later on when they talk about things physically changing when the agents change the code, because then you go, oh yeah, I saw that earlier when they did that with his mouth and the fucking bug thing, and then them taking out the fucking bug thing.
I feel like the same thing could have been accomplished if you'd just seen an agent stick a finger in his neck.
Well, probably, but it wouldn't look as cool.
It didn't look cool to me. I thought it was stupid.
Oh, I look cool.
I had to agree with Kenneth. I was not a fan of the bug thing,
like anything
but
in this movie.
that is not true. I love all the Ghost in the Shell stuff.
Basically, you have to remember that this is a program. The Matrix is a program. It follows the rules of a program, and we're kind of going to get into computer science with this. But everything has to. There's code and rules, and everything has to follow these rules. And those rules give physical properties, even though they're technically not real, to everything. And so
that is true. They do talk about how
the tracing program can't just be them the machines typing on a computer. It has to be a physical thing within the simulation of the Matrix, and then they have to physically remove it. Just like bullets have to physically penetrate the agents to remove their programming from the human host.
Which is very important to the fact that Morpheus telling Neo that they have to follow the logical rules of the program. You do not. So that's another thing that backs up that concept.
Okay, so here's another gripe that I have.
Bring
it. You remember that scene where they're doing the jump simulation and he goes and he stretches out the ground and comes back up and then slams down on it real hard? And then he comes back out and the inside of his mouth is bleeding, and Morpheus says that line where your mind makes it real?
Yes.
Yeah, I really hated that. And the reason why I hated that is because, okay, does every scar that he gets in the Matrix physically manifest itself on his body?
If he gets scars.
I mean, it's a heavy placebo.
Like take for instance the scene where he's in there and he dodges the bullets and he gets nicked. When he wakes up, as those nicks going to be on his body.
But here's the thing they show that like when he's getting shot, his body physically shakes, which is the brain's reaction to what it thinks is happening.
I completely understand that.
But so when he fell, could he have possibly bit his tongue in the chair? And that's where the blood comes from. Is that his body reacting and shaking to hitting the concrete actually made him bite his tongue or his cheek or something like that?
I mean, and that's a big possibility. But at that point, you know, what makes that weird to me is the fact that, you know, that is completely plausible to me. You saying that's completely plausible. I've thought about that myself. He probably nicked the inside of his cheek or something when he was gritting his teeth when he fucking felt the pain or whatever else. But then what's the point of Morpheus looking over at him and being like, oh, your mind makes it real? You know, why didn't he just tell him, oh, you probably bit the inside of your mouth when you hit the ground?
But your mind does
Morpheus
make it real.
Because Morpheus says everything in a cryptic fucking bullshit, because otherwise he won't look cool and we'll notice the gap in his teeth.
I mean, and then and then we can go into more stuff about that, where it's just like, okay, because you get shot in the Matrix, why would that kill you? And I mean, like, and I know the reasoning behind it in the movie. You know, and it's not that I don't understand the reasoning. I understand the reasoning.
if it wasn't there, you could do. Then it wouldn't matter if you got shot in the Matrix. And who gives a shit? You can do whatever you want.
I mean, because at this point, when you've already fucking goddamn, you know, accepted the fact that there is no spoon.
Do you? Is it that their brains are rewired for the brain to tell the body that this happened and you have to react that way? So, like, if you drank yourself to death in the Matrix, would your liver in real life go out because your brain is telling it that it's going out?
Fuck, I don't know. That's the reason why I'm asking you guys. Because it's like,
I mean,
so like if
why
you're still jacked in and you are an alcoholic in the Matrix, that could very well kill your liver, making you stop produce energy, and then you die. And that could be. But this is what. See, I don't know anything about that book besides the title.
Also,
but this is kind of where that philosophy. Just the Matrix being a discussion about philosophy comes in.
I have the answer. There's a line in the movie that answers all this shit.
Oh, okay.
when Morpheus is tied to a chair, Agent Smith tells him about the first time they wrote a program and where it was a utopia. But because the human mind would not accept it and believe that it was real, they kept getting booted out of the program. That basically the program kept crashing in the brain. So when they rewrote the program to make it real, they had to rewrite in placebo effects in the brain to convince the brain that everything that was happening was real, or else the program would crash. It would get them kicked out.
Yeah, but see,
that logically explains all of that shit.
No, but see, that's the difference between okay, here we go. This is what I mean. Okay, for common everyday folk that's stuck in the fucking Matrix, I totally get that. And like I said, I totally get the way it's explained in the movie. But the thing about it is what I don't get is, and I'm going to go back to the same phrase I used a minute ago. Once each and every one of these realize that there is no spoon and they can jump fucking goddamn, from one building to the next, and later on we see Neo fucking fly.
Lingering cognitive dissonance. Just like they have to rebuild his muscles, he has to get that out of his brain. Obviously, it takes someone very, very powerful mentally to get that out of their brain, which is why someone like Trinity has only been able to go so far, but someone like Morpheus can go a little bit further, but not as far as Neo at the end, who has the mental power to actually rewrite that part of his brain.
Yeah, and see, that's the point, man. I feel like that. I feel like the way that some people are, and like me, dude, if once I realized that I could do all kinds of cool shit, oh my God, man, I'd be Supermaning the fuck out of the Matrix, bro.
But just because you know it does not mean you're going to be able to fully convince your brain that it's true.
Jerry, do you think that I would be able to fully convince my brain of this once I realized it?
No, not at first. I think you would have to work at it. And you would have to train because
nobody makes their first jump.
I'm not saying you wouldn't have to work at it.
Nobody makes the first jump.
Like I said, I'm not saying you wouldn't have to work at it, but I think it's completely possible that more people than just Neo could be able to do this.
And we do see that with the other potentials, as the Oracle's waitress calls them, that there are people who have close abilities, but nobody has all of the abilities that Neo has.
Morpheus can't keep having people get killed because he thinks they're the one and then they die at a fucking agent's hand. We can't just keep littering the bodies. I think while your point's valid, because then we don't have a movie. Unless you want a fucking anthology TV show that's Morpheus's Playtime, where he shows you all fucking, I don't know, it'll be like 5-6 episodes, and each episode will be another person who was supposed to be the one, but got killed because Morpheus is an asshole.
No, I swear, it's in.
If not for anything else, we take out the jumping and all the rest of that shit. If not for anything else, I thoroughly believe that once you realize that, damn, your body is still alive and fucking sitting in a chair, if you got shot in it, I feel like, especially with the way people are now, that you'd be like, okay, well, that was just another me dying in a video game, and then fucking goddamn game over, and then fucking hit restart. I really thoroughly believe that. I thoroughly believe that people... You know what I'm saying?
Say that again. I want to make sure I heard this right. Say it again for me.
I feel like that once you realize that you were in a simulation and you died in the simulation, that you would be able to fucking goddamn be like, okay, I just died, game over, wake up and restart.
I think they rewire your brain to not be able to do that. Kind of like people who have a mental illness have their brain wired differently, and it's hard to like rewire the brains, especially if they're like really fucking shot out and they think that, if they kill themselves they're going to go to that asteroid. Just because they leave it doesn't make it actual true in the quote unquote, I'm going to say real life, but in this part in the program. So I believe all of that's written in like, I know a lot of what I'm saying isn't, you're not fully accepting it, but I will say I feel like every answer Jay and I have come up with for your responses are good enough for me when I'm able to put the pedestal under them that you have to do it because it's a movie, and at least these are logical explanations to it.
Okay, I'll give you credit for that. I'll give you credit for logical explanations. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it don't work. And the reason being is just because I really think that as for it being made a movie, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's good. That's what makes the movie. That's what we've had this discussion about
And
other
I
stuff.
fucking hate Star Wars because they have explosions in space, and then Jaws fucking roars after he's dead in the first Jaws
Right.
off a fucking movie. These movies are bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, for the movie and whatever else, cool, fine, whatever. But for me personally, you know what I'm saying? And I still, and the thing about it is even with the shit that I'm saying, I still enjoy watching this movie more than you do. And I probably will watch it at least once a year, possibly twice.
Ugh.
You know what I'm
I've
saying?
watched it so many times this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say that watching it for the podcast, this is probably the fourth time this year that I've watched.
Why did I read that the next two movies don't have a lot of gunplay? Or like Keanu Reeves doesn't use a gun?
Because he doesn't need to.
Yeah, at this point, he don't need to.
So they make the movies more boring, or do they actually go into the story part of it?
No,
Do
they go into the story, but he uses more weaponry too. Like like the one scene that I absolutely can't stand from the second one is where he's fighting a whole shitload of Smiths. There was that in the third one.
Oh, dude, that fight. Okay. We need to knock it on the second movie because I won't be able to stop talking.
The CGI was fucking terrible.
The CGI was terrible. I actually have an explanation about that.
Not that great in this movie. When you look at it now, back then, I like the only CGI that really got me is I did not know the black cat was a CGI.
Watch the second one, Jerry.
Oh, is it bad?
Oh, dude, I want you to watch this. We won't even do a podcast.
PS2
I just want you to call me.
Is it DC movies bad? Like I tried to watch Aquaman the other night, and I got 45 minutes into it before I turned it off because I was like, "This is just goddamn CGI." This whole fucking movie is CGI. Oh my god, it's awful.
Dude, but that scene where he's fighting all the Smiths, that was fucking awful.
Okay.
So listen, see, now I want to talk about the second. We need to move on because I have an explanation for all that. Actually,
I agree. Fuck that bullshit. It's the computers didn't have enough RAM, so it had to lower the graphics.
That's actually the explanation.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I mean, technically, that could be fucking true.
So listen, during that scene, I have to say this now. During that scene, there's a ton of Smiths, right? He has the power to replicate himself after Neo blows him up in the first one. And so Neo's fighting like a bunch of them. The scene starts out like the rest of the movies where it's practical effects, it's actual people, and it ends in some really, really shitty CGI with some really, really random sound effects thrown in, like bowling ball sound effects. Smiths are falling apart, and that's my belief, is that because the amount of Smiths and the power of the one are meeting like this, which has never happened in any of the other versions of the Matrix, are now causing the system to malfunction, basically. So yes, almost like not enough RAM is
I actually
going on. And that's why the CGI is so shitty, and that's why the random sound effects are in there.
You tell yourself whatever you want to, buddy,
from
to make
a computer
yourself feel better. That shit.
From a computer standpoint, that makes 100% sense. Like that does make sense. I mean, I would need to hear it from
finish sucking each other's dicks, then we can have a better conversation about how fucking terrible that CGI was in that goddamn movie.
Oh, it's very bad.
I just think you don't want to accept our logical explanations.
It was awful, dude.
Listen,
when you got Neo looking like Gumby with a fucking goddamn trench
look
coat
here,
on,
motherfucker.
That's exactly what he looked like.
The passion of the Christ and the digital age is not here for your bullshit, you agent Satan motherfucker, okay? Neo is the goddamn one. He is Jesus. He doesn't have to answer for your bullshit. Of course the CGI is bad. It's standing next to the one. Nothing will look as good as him. Nothing. You're a fucking
that's
Cyrus.
What I'm talking about.
Fuck you, you're a Cyrus.
He does. He looks awful.
I literally don't know what we're talking about, and I am just
saying
shit and acting like I do.
Jerry, I'm being dead serious, dude. He looks like fucking goddamn Gumby with a trench coat on. That's exactly what it looks like. And even the trench coat doesn't look good. Okay.
Oh, fuck. Okay, do we have any more negatives?
I have one other one, and I completely opposite in that.
Oh, okay. Okay. My next question for y'all is, did I make y'all proud on my research, watching, and understanding and views of The Matrix? Jay, you're the biggest fan. You literally have Keanu Reeves tattooed on your dickhead.
How'd you know about that?
Can't tell you about that, but don't clean your bathroom more. How do you think I did as for understanding research? Did I come up with shit you didn't know of? Do you feel like I
didn't, like I said, I didn't know how much they borrowed from other things, especially the Ghost in the Shell stuff. So that was kind of cool to learn. I think you actually did a fantastic job of researching it. I think you gave the movie technical aspects the fair credit they deserve. And I think that while I don't agree with your opinions, you presented them only as opinions. And they're completely valid for that reason. So I actually applaud you on that, sir. Good job.
Okay, good. Kenneth, what about you?
I'm actually surprised you did the research that you did, being perfectly honest. And I'm glad that you just didn't come in full swing fucking goddamn bashing and nothing but bashing. You gave credit where credit was due, and, I can appreciate that. So kudos to you, man. You actually didn't fucking just be like, the movie sucks. Show's over.
We should do that one of these fucking days.
Because that's what I was expecting. I was expecting you to get on here and be like, they stole a whole bunch of shit from Ghost in the Shell. The movie sucks.
Oh my god.
Game over.
When Jay was messaging the group today and like poking me with a stick trying to get me to say something, I wanted to. He was like, "So it's your new favorite movie, huh? Second favorite movie?" I just so bad wanted to like just like.
I know it didn't have any sharks, so
yeah. Oh my! I wanted to respond so fucking bad, but I was like, nope. Save it for the show because I don't want them to have any fucking idea of what I'm going to say about this. I'm going to lean in heavy with knowledge and how this movie needs its asterisk for everything it stole / borrowed / homage / maybe send the creators of Ghost in the Shell a check. Before I went into like...
Oh, I remembered what my last gripe was.
Oh shit! What is it? No sex? I agree, man. No fucking rated R. Didn't get one set of titties. I mean, we got Switch had a see-through shirt, and in 4K you can definitely see areola. But I mean, no sex. Come on, man. It's rated R.
It's rated R because they kill cops.
Really?
I'm pretty sure because there's no blood.
Yeah, not a lot of blood. I mean, there's a lot of cussing, I guess.
There's blood when they killed the fucking security guards at the beginning of the pillar scene.
Yeah, a little bit. Squibs.
There's a little bit of blood, but not. But and no,
it's
that
not like
would
Rambo
only be PG-13.
blood. It's not
Yeah.
like
Shh! I haven't seen that. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Yeah,
morning.
shut the fuck
Dude,
up,
if you've seen Rambo 4, you know what I'm talking about when it comes to the gore.
Okay,
that's fair.
Well, you could have just said Rambo 4, Kenneth.
What
was your... Wait, oh, we're off topic. Kenneth,
Yeah.
what was your complaint?
God damn
Fuck,
it.
you're going to lose it again.
Yep, it totally did.
Oh, God.
Fuck. Okay, so I came in and I
I got it.
Oh, wait, here we go.
All right, so, and this could be one of the... This is more of a question, okay?
Okay, I got you.
How come that when they fucking goddamn upload all that fucking fighting shit into their brains, how come it doesn't stick around in real life?
They don't. So throughout all,
because it's
movies,
coding.
The only time it's ever like really used is when Neo fights Smith's inhabited body in the third one.
Well, hold on. How do you know it doesn't stick around in real life? Because you
never see it like
they never. What do you want them to kickbox the fucking Sentinel? They never have an opportunity to use it in real life.
You haven't seen the other ones.
They can't.
Well, then why are you talking about shit from the other ones?
You can't defy gravity in real life. Neo's the only one that's
okay. That's not what I'm talking about, though. But some of that shit would linger around, wouldn't it? Because, all right, Jerry, we're just going to go into this, okay? Jay, in the second movie...
I'm going to check Facebook.
All right. Jay, in the second movie where, goddamn, he's fighting against Smith in the real world...
That's the third one.
Is it in the third? No, it's at the end of the fucking second one and the beginning of the third one. Yeah, okay. So either way, you know what I'm talking about, because you see where Smith... The second movie ends with Smith going into dude's body, and then fucking goddamn, it's starting off in the third one. But either way, in either one of those points, goddamn, you never see Neo do any of the martial arts outside of the Matrix. And if that shit is uploaded into his fucking mind, shouldn't you be able to use some of that shit? Because in the real world, he looks up at Morpheus and he's like, I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, so no, you're right, but that's what I was saying, is that the only time there's actually any hand-to-hand altercation is when Neo fights Smith in the real world, and that's more hitting him with the fucking laser gun. Like, they trade punches and shit, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could have kicked him, but I think it's more... I think that's more of a stylized choice than anything else.
But still, I mean, or any of the other ones. You know what I'm saying? At any point in time, like any of the other people that's jacked into it, like fucking goddamn Cypher. Cypher knows all that shit. So why does he use the laser gun to fucking goddamn kill Tank and Dozer?
It's easier to kill people with a gun than it is to punch them.
Yeah, but see, that's still bullshit to me. I still feel like that you...
No, Cypher needed to attack far away because he had two of them. If he went over there and they could overpower him, because well, no, they didn't have that shit because they're not jacked in, so they wouldn't have known any of that shit. But still, it was 2 against 1. Just use the fucking gun. It's easier.
It may have been easier, but my point still stands on why, if you upload all that shit into your brain and Neo knows that he knows that shit outside of the fucking Matrix, then how come you never see him use any of it? And then on top of that, later on in the series, you see Neo use his powers outside of the Matrix.
But again, there's only one physical altercation in the real world.
Stop, drop, shut him down, open up shop.
Because they do retain that information because it's how they know how to use the equipment. Tank skips it at first, but I assume he goes back at some point and teaches it because Tank's like, we're supposed to start with this operations, but that's just pure bullshit. And then I assume they teach him later because Neo's turning the computers on just fine by himself.
Right. So, I don't know. That's always been one of them things where I'm just like, okay, how come they're not kicking ass? You know, obviously they're not going to be able to use the defying fucking things of, you know, like gravity and fucking jumping and all the rest of that shit. All the wire shit they do inside the Matrix. But they still would be able to know the fundamentals of jujitsu, kung fu, drunken boxing, all these fucking martial arts that they goddamn get uploaded into their brains.
Hold up, time's out. Mouse made a sex program so you could fuck the chick in the red dress.
Correct.
Does it also improve your sex technique? Later on in the movie when Neo fucks Trinity, is he like really impressive? Like, did he at least keep the sex stuff over and use that in real life?
Maybe. It looked pretty hot.
I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, if he keeps fucking the chick with the red dress, I imagine that would probably help his stamina, if not anything else.
I need this program.
I'm completely with you on the program, but my point still stands on.
But only if it actually stays in real life, because I need help. By the time she realizes that I got 2 inches and I don't know what I'm doing, I've already came anyway. So I need the help.
I'll work with you, baby.
Okay.
But my point still stands. So, Jay, if you can answer that question for me, man, how come they don't... I mean...
I've given you my answers. There's one physical altercation outside the real world, so we don't know if they know it or don't know it outside.
Yeah, who are they going to kung fu fight in the real world? Did the fucking Matrix build a fucking robot jock for us to fight?
No, there's no robot jocks.
Like, who would they literally fight in real life?
And it stands for the same thing, man. How come goddamn Smith didn't come at Neo with some of that shit? Because Smith would know it all. Smith was a fucking program that was uploaded into the human brain. So Smith would know everything that he do. That within the physical parameters of the real world.
Yes, but Smith can't break the laws of it. Neo can.
But Smith comes out, and in the second and third one, yes, he can.
Does he? Oh, okay. Well, fine. So did they just like go? You know all that shit we said in the first movie? Fuck it.
You'd have to see it because Smith
representing it because there's there's literally one scene and we don't know. Like there's not enough to base. There's not enough evidence to assume they don't have any of this information.
When Smith and fucking Neo are throwing wide haymakers instead of goddamn using badass fucking kung fu moves, to me that constitutes.
Okay, well, we will have this conversation whenever we do the second Matrix movie. So if someone wants to buy me the next two Matrix movies
They're
on
on
4K,
Netflix.
I want a
gave you guys the
4K.
digital code, I thought.
No, I want 4K Blu-rays physically owned. That's the only reason I did this show is because Kenneth bought me a physical 4K copy of the Matrix, and I'm going to be
choice
a fucking
when it comes back around
prima
to me,
donna.
Part 2. 4K
I'm gonna be
or
a
no
prima
4K,
donna.
I want
God
part
damn it, Kenneth! You're ruining my hustle.
No, because I want you to. I don't give a shit if we do it on the show. I want to have a conversation with you, and if Jay is involved in this conversation, I don't give a fuck whether it's on the show or not. I want to hear what you got to say.
So, I guess I will eventually be watching it. I don't know when, because I got a lot of other shit going on. So real quick, I'm about to pimp a bunch of shit.
Pimp it out.
The podcast Under the Stairs, 90s top 10 series,
and
the
we
summer
didn't
series.
even talk about what we've been doing. You remember that?
Because no one cares, Kenneth.
It's
They want to
true.
hear us talk about the
I
Matrix.
fucking care.
On
Okay.
Kill the Cast, I'll do what we're doing, but Jerry Hayes action straight. This was supposed to be an hour and a half long. We were 2 hours into it.
Yeah.
I did not know it was going to go this far.
And I guess I'm just gonna have me and Jay are just gonna have a personal phone call about these fucking things because I'm still not satisfied with how I feel about this goddamn movie and things that I want to know. And the
Look,
source
I agree
that
with
was
you. The
going to-
movie's bad.
Source, pun intended. The fucking source that I was gonna go to about this has not answered any of my questions to the fullest ability that I want them answered. So fucking,
I
goddamn me and
feel
Jay
like,
need to have a fucking conversation about this. Okay.
I feel like I gave you very valid answers.
You gave me answers to fucking goddamn whether the movie is fucking similar to Ghost in the Shell or not. Guess
No, what about
homie?
I
knew
answered
that
all your
already.
questions. I answered all your fucking questions for your complaints with logical, reasonable explanations. Yes, there was a Band-Aid on all of them that says because it's a fucking movie, but I still answered them, and Jay was like, I'm the expert. I back up what Jerry's saying. I was just making sure Jerry paid attention to this movie. I would have said the same thing, and that's 100% true.
Jesus Christ.
You see that, man? He fucking wrapped an insult in a bow and handed it to you. There you
Yeah,
go.
good. That was good. Good shit.
Oh, you deserved. Jay deserved a blowjob after that, Jerry.
Oh, fuck. Okay, look. Podcast Under the Stairs, 90s Top 10 Summer Series. Episode 98's already come out. By the time this comes out, episode 99 comes out. The year 1998's already out. And by the time you hear this, the year 1999 would have just fucking dropped. Go check those out. See how I feel about a bunch of movies. In 98, I get backstabbed and betrayed by JP. I may cry a little bit. But in 99... I maybe get my revenge because we're both on those episodes.
In 99 when The Matrix came out. What a great movie to talk about.
Right?
For real. And then I record a week from today for the fucking round table portion of it. So that should be fucking dope. I put out some new shows, y'all. Atomic Age Saucer Cast with Court Psyops and Darren Wilson. Check that out. We did The Invisible Invaders. It was fucking dope. We talk about nuclear weapons and communism. Also, check out Cult Unknown. I did that with Mr. Venom, Jerry Cortez from Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. Him and I did a deep dive into Bigfoot. We told stories of Bigfoot, and we reviewed the movie Exist. And a very, 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 very intoxicated Watson said it was the best podcast work that me and Venom have ever done, period. He was really drunk, but he still said it, so go check out Cult Unknown. It still fucking counts. And that's the dopest. I'm working on some guest spots I might be doing here shortly. I talked with two people today about doing guest spots, so that shit should happen. Kill the Cast is coming in October, and we're kicking it fucking classic. The Price is Right, baby. We are doing 2 Vincent Price movies in October. We are doing my all-time favorite Vincent Price movie, House of Wax 3D, which Jay
never
picked.
seen.
Jay has never seen, and he picked it, and I'm super excited and happy, and I love Jay for doing this for me. And then we will also come back with my second favorite Price movie, The Mask of the Red Death. which is dope. Everyone kind of talks about House on Haunted Hill or Witchfinder General, aka The Conqueror's Worm. So we thought we'd pick two that aren't quite talked about as much.
This is based on the Edgar Allan Poe story?
In name,
oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna read it before I watch the movie and see what we get.
Kind of, sort of. But it's fucking dope as shit. I love it. And we're going to do those in fucking October. And then in November, we might be doing The Matrix 2 because it comes back to Kenneth. So let us know what you want to hear from us for Jerry Hates Action. Though it's probably going to be The Matrix 2. What is The Matrix 2 called?
Reloaded.
Mm-hmm. They didn't call it Electric Boogaloo?
No, that's the third one.
So it might be that. But if you've got a
documentary about Carol Co.
What?
I don't understand the words you just said.
Electric Boogaloo, isn't that a fucking? Isn't that a documentary about the company?
No.
Yes.
No, it's Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Hang on.
The name of a movie.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Go ahead. Keep talking.
We'll be coming back for that. If you've got movies you want us to do for Kill the Cast, let us know. I've been kind of itching for us to do a really deep dive on the 13 Ghost remake. And get into the backstory of each character for like we'll review the movie and then like get into the backstories for each fucking 13 Ghost. That should be dope. Also, keep an eye on Jay's profile, his personal profile. You can add him. He doesn't give a shit. Add both of his accounts because he gets banned a lot. And check out his 31 days of horror movies that he will be doing for October. I will be watching Scooby-Doo shit all motherfucking month long for October. I literally just got my hands on I digitally got my hands on every single thing that Scooby-Doo has ever put out.
Nice.
So I'm going to be watching a shit ton of that. I know I'm going to do a double feature of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island plus the new Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island because they did a sequel. I'm doing the 13 Ghost of Scooby-Doo series because they also put out a 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo movie this past year. I'm going to hit that. I'm hitting up a lot of classic Scooby-Doo. I've already started pre-gaming. It's going to be fucking boss. This was a great fucking show. I'm glad we could come on here and rock it. I hope you all enjoyed it. If The Matrix is your favorite movie, then, listen to what Jay says and ignore me and Kenneth. Because Kenneth is a nitpicker.
And what I was talking about is called Mick Hartley's Electric Boogaloo, the wild untold story of Canon Films. It wasn't Carol Co. It's Canon.
Oh, okay. That's dope, but they still stole that name from Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Which is fine, but that's what I was thinking about was the documentary.
Oh, okay. That's dope. Well, that's cool. I actually want to watch that because Canon Films is pretty dope for your low budget kind of style. So, with that being said, anyone got any parting words? Jay, do you have any parting words for the people?
For you, look at the Animatrix and the Second Renaissance Part 1 and 2. It is literally the backstory of where the AI came from, who built it, and how we blacked out the sun.
Oh, see, that's what I want to know. That's much more interesting.
And it's anime, too. So, there you go.
Then
it's really good.
Mystery Man, Morpheus, Emotionless, Trinity, and very confused Keanu Reeves. So, cool. I will, do I need to watch that before the second one? Or, do I pregame those?
There are several stories in the Animatrix that come before the second one. But this is just basically a prequel. So technically, if you watch it before the first movie, you'll have a leg up on it. But you can watch it whenever. Okay.
Kenneth, do you have any parting words for the people?
No.
Good. Fuck them. We are out. We love y'all. Check us out on Facebook. Links are all in the description. Come join our group. We're going to be kicking it in there. And you know what? It's Vincent Price month coming up. So see you in October. If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.